Okay, first thing to say, all praise is glory and honor to Yahweh, Bashim Al-Shai, Bashim Gakadash. I'm your double honors to elders, apostles, teachers, great ministers, for learning the truth, and say shalom to the hopeful elect of Israel. What's in this video on this, not necessarily whoever this nigga is, but this topic of people telling us to go back, you know, that we come from Africa, that we come from Ham. Now, Africa is not the motherland. The chosen land that the Lord chose is Jerusalem. It's not Africa. Our people were not from Africa. And this dumbass calls himself a learned at a seminary school, which I'm guessing that's something he prides himself off of. When you go to a seminary school, you learn whitewashed religious dogma. Just like in American history, it's fucking whitewashed. The winner, things like this don't really matter to this fucking headlight, this fucking spit shine on the headlight ass nigga. Fucking milk does glistening in the sun. But things like this don't really matter because this nigga really doesn't fucking care. He just cares about feeling right and trying to prove whatever little bullshit point he can. But once again, even if you go into secular history, right? Because secular history will mirror biblical history. It's all the same thing. Like Elder Apostle Hart said, the Bible is codified. But we fled to Africa. And we were sold by Africans to Esau. We are not the same as fucking Africans. There is a different spirit on an African than there is on an actual Jake. There are multiple like for example, you have Indians that look like Jake, actual straight Elamites with dark skin. You have heathens that have dark skin, but we're not the fucking same. So why is it this whole thing with Africans, like black African Americans, so-called came from Africa? Once again, history. If you look into history, it will tell you that we fled into Africa from Roman persecution. But if you go to Esau Cemetery School, he's not going to tell you that. He's going to give you some whitewashed, watered down bullshit. But that's something this guy prides himself off of. Because when you go, if you actually want to understand the Bible, you have to understand history. You have to go into history because the Bible is history. So you match up what you see in the Bible with what with history that you see on this earth. But it says black Hebrews. Why don't you claim any traditional African religions? It's all the time, but you have people like this who are purposely assholes. Because guys like this watch the videos and they call us black Hebrews and Africans just to be assholes. They do it on purpose. Because we say all the time, we're not fucking black. We're not African. Leviticus 18:1. And this is as coming out of Egypt. The Lord is going to give us, put us in Israel, in Jerusalem, in the land of Canaan, which is originally called. And because the Canaanites originally dwelt there, and the Canaanites are fucking Hamites, Africans. Leviticus 18:1, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speaking to the children of Israel, and say unto them, I'm the Lord your power. It says, why do we not claim any traditional African values? Because we're not fucking heathens. Because we're not fucking Africans. We're not dirty Hamites. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. I could ask you the same, I could ask you the same question. Why don't you fucking claim any fucking religion, any religions of Esau? But then again, I guess you could say Christianity. But you get my point. We're not fucking Hamites. And we say it all the time. And that would be idolatry. We already have a God of the Hebrews. The Hamites are a completely different fucking people. After doings in the land of Egypt, wherein you dwelt, shall you not do. After doings in the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall you not do. Neither shall you walk in the ordinances. That's why. Because we already have our own God. The Canaanites, they have different gods. What I think they polytheism or some shit. They also believe in fucking Jesus too. But all that traditional African shit. There's no point if we're not fucking African. You goddamn moron. The Lord tells us not to do the same thing that the Canaanites do. And going down, it talks about how worshiping those same gods and doing those same type of rituals in reverence to those gods got these niggas put out the fucking land. Now, it was already promised to us that we will be given the land, but that's just another reason. And when we got the land, what did we do? We did the very same shit that the Canaanites are doing, worshiping their gods, and then what fucking happened? We got put out the land for worshiping those traditional African religions. Fucking idiot. And if you actually read the Bible and read history, because the Bible alone will tell you that as soon as the Israelites got in the land, they got put. Well, I won't say it soon, but when they got in the land, they eventually got put out, and we kept getting kicked out the land. Why? For the same exact shit, idolatry. That's why we don't worship traditional African religions. Not only that, but they're absolutely fucking vain, and you've seen that in a couple instances where you had the sons of Baal, Elijah, versus I think the priests of Baal. Daniel, and I think it was Cyrus and Bel and the dragon. You have these different instances where the Lord proves that these other gods are fucking false, that they're not real, that they can't do anything. All of these Hamites and all these other gods, like you got the example with India. During the pandemic, you had these niggas throwing their fucking idols out the window. Why? It's because they were praying to them, and these idols were not fucking helping them. They weren't doing anything. But then those dumbasses went and picked the fucking shit back up when the pandemic ended. But that's the reason why, because all these other gods are false, and the Lord proves it in multiple instances in the scriptures, and we can prove it now. How about you pray to your God, to your African gods, to make America great, to make everything better again, and we'll pray to the Lord, and we'll see who's gonna fucking win that battle. Because it looks like we're winning. We pray for the downfall of America. That's happening. It looks like we're fucking winning. Pray to your God and your African fucking Dagon and whatever the fuck to try to make this world great again. It's not going to fucking work. And it's never worked. See here. Verse 5, you shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I'm the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai. Not to get any idol worship. And that nigga may just be fucking asking for attention, because that was an extremely stupid question. We don't claim to be African. And the Hebrew Israelites, if you go to a seminary school, if you got your degree from a seminary school, their God, they did not make a covenant with the gods of Canaan, gods of the Hamites. They made a covenant with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Their God, the actual true God who created the universe. I said, we're not fucking Hamites. We're not Africans. They don't, and once again, Hamites, Africans don't even fucking like us. And when you go into the Bible, brother, I brought this out. I think it was in a camp, a few weekends ago, of how when you look in the Bible, the nation that's plagued us the most were the fucking Hamites. The Hamite tribes, Philistines, Hivites, Parasite, we constantly had fucking battle with them throughout the Goliath. He was a fucking Hamite. David and Goliath, everybody knows that he was a Hamite. We had constant fucking wars and battles with the Hamites throughout the Bible, throughout our history. There are second. They're at the when you go into the list of nations that hate us the most, they're number 2 after the so-called white man. Well, they may be number 3. Number 1, the black woman. Number 2, Esau. Number 3, Hamites. But if you want to just go on nations, there after the so-called white man, there we've had constant fucking battles with the Philistines. With Hamites, different nations. Philistines, a lot of battles with Hamites in general. So we're not, and once again, they had dark skin back then, and they knew who the fuck they were. They know we weren't their people just because we look like them. And that's history you can look up on the internet if you don't want to look it up in the Bible. You're all you niggas who go to seminary school, your degrees are absolutely fucking pointless because they don't teach you actual history on the Bible. I'm just gonna jump down. A lot of these were things that Ham was doing too. This is Leviticus 18:24. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these nations are defiled which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. Shall therefore keep my statutes, my judgments, shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled, that the land spew not you out also, when you defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that committed them, shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall you keep my ordinance, that ye commit not any of these abominable customs which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves. I am the Lord Yahweh by Shema Shai power. And Exodus 23 and 23. Let me see here. Exodus 23 and 23. For mine angel shall go before thee. And, this is when the Lord had put Canaanites. And, you got the little small, like different nations of the Canaanites out of that land. And, you go back into Leviticus, I'm going to go into that. It mentions how the Lord put them out of the land because of the shit that they were doing. And the Lord told us not to do the same shit. The thing I just read, I'll go back to it. Not to do the same shit because they got put out the land because of the same. In other words, if we were, which once again, we ended up doing it, we were to commit idolatry, idol worship by taking part in heathen customs in reverence to heathen gods, the Lord would punish us for it. That's why we don't go to African traditions. We don't go to Hindu traditions. We don't go to any of these other traditions because once again, their gods are not real. But there's a punishment for that's idol worship. We already made a covenant with the Heavenly Father. And if you read the Bible, you know that. And this nigga calls us black Hebrews. He didn't call us black Africans. He called us black Hebrews. So if you call us Black Hebrews and you somewhat acknowledge and know that the God that we worship isn't Hamite gods, that was a dumb fucking question. So Exodus 23:23, but for my angels shall go before thee and bring thee unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and Canaanites and the Hivites and Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt, and what he, if I remember correctly, he ordered us to exterminate them. Genocide. Yes, God believes in genocide where it's due. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images. So the Lord told us to all their altars and all that bullshit that they're worshiping, to destroy all that shit. What sense, if he told us to destroy it, what sense would it make to then rebuild the very same shit that he told us to destroy? And when we did do that, we end up getting our ass handed to us. And you're telling us to, and you're asking, why don't we do the very same thing? Guys in the same fucking situation. That's just, see, outside of education, that's just common fucking sense to not do the same shit that got you in a shitty fucking situation, to do better than the next time. It doesn't matter how much schooling you fucking niggers have, you will always be fucking retards. As long as you're under Esau's rule in this current age, you fucking 2/3 niggers, whether you're a scoffer, whether you have money, or whether you're broke, whether you're famous, you are all fucking retards. And there's a reason why the heathen look at you in the manner that they do, as fucking stupid animals, because you are. And the Lord even says, let me see here. Isaiah 1:3. The ox considereth his owner, the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider. And what ox and an ass, a donkey, are two unintelligent animals, but they know where they get their food from. They know who their master is. They know where to go back to for shelter. But our people are complete. And what the Lord, he's pretty much saying our people are dumber than some of the dumbest animals that he created. They don't, not only do our people not know, but they don't even stop to think and to consider things, to do research, to search some things out, and say, well, this does sound kind of right. Let me look into this. They don't do that. And you niggas wonder why, even in the work, because like what, when you go into our forefathers, even though we were in captivity, we were respected for our physical and or mental prowess. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel, prime example, was an example of that. He was set the third in charge of the Persian Mede Empire. I think he was number 3 in charge over the entire empire, if I'm not mistaken. Which was bigger than America, was just damn near 3 times bigger than America, by the way, because they had said he had 127 provinces, which similar to states. So almost 3 times as big as America. You got America, 50 states, you know, or North America. But they ruled over the known world, and he was set in charge of that because of the wisdom that the Lord gave him. Well, once again, the wisdom that the Lord gave our people, the men of our nation, like they weren't just fucking idiots. You know, you had men of our nation that were right hands to kings. There's a certain etiquette, and there's a certain way, certain things you have to know in order to be in that position. You know, like if you're a cupbearer, you know, like even if cupbearer next to a king. You're not some fucking animal walking around fucking, you know, pants sagging and spitting talking all types of bullshit. You know, I remember we were chilling at the house one day, and we were going to some history of Persians, empire, and one of the brothers had older brothers had actually mentioned how when you go into like with certain people within the king's court, if you acted weird in a way that he didn't like, or if you said some weird shit, or you're in position, you're covered, you said some weird shit, you're acting in a weird way, or you're not smiling, like if you acting depressed around the king, the brother said they will fucking kill you. Once again, you had to have etiquette, and you have to know how to conduct yourself. The vast majority of our people don't know how to do that. These little seminary niggas, they don't know how to do that. They will kill you for being depressed and not acting correct. For being depressed, they would fucking kill you. But that's how it was. Once again, there's a way that they acted, But, the men of our nation were put in high positions in heathen kingdoms because of their wisdom and the way they conducted themselves. And you had heathen leaders and kings that acknowledged our God and said, hey, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of the Israelites, this is the power of the God of the Israelites that did this. Or, this is the wisdom that came from the God of the Israelites that's shown in his man. They acknowledged that. The heathens mentioned God of the Israelites. They didn't say God of the Hamites shine on the Israelites. No, they said the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the gods that the Hebrews worship. Different from the Hamites. And they all knew, once again, everybody knew that there's a difference between Hamites and Israelites. Now that we look the same, yes, our people went into Egypt, in different occasions because we look like the Egyptians. But generally, everybody knew that there was a difference between nations back then. But verse 28, and I will send the hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. Going to jump down to verse 32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. How? By going after their gods. And what happened, like with King Solomon, right? What happened when our people dwelt with the heathen? They were enticed to do after the ways of the heathen. Even not dwelling with them. And you have different instances of that very same Numbers. I think it's chapter 21 or 25. I think it was a Moabite woman that was enticing our people to commit fucking idolatry. I think it was Phineas that put a spear to her ass and her son. 23 or 25 or 21. But you type in Phineas and you'll find it in that book. Or maybe 13. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee, a trap. And that's exactly what happened. We got fucked up. But he told us not to partake in the customs of the very same people that he was going to drive out for taking part in those customs. Logically, it doesn't make sense. That was a dumb fucking question. And the guy knows that. He's just being an asshole. Because, he wanted to talk about his fucking seminary. Nobody give a fuck about your damn degree. If you don't understand basic things about the Bible, your degree is meaningless. Because the whole point of a seminary degree is supposed to be learning the Bible. But realistically speaking, it's just so you can start up a fucking mega church and make money. And preach bullshit to people. And say you have a degree. But even in the world, nobody give a fuck about your seminary degree. Where you gonna walk to a club and start swinging your damn piece of paper around, you fucking moron. But I'm gonna go back to Leviticus because what the Lord drove them out, and He told us not to And it even said that I could probably stop there because it even says it right here. But that's pretty much it. Hope is edifying. Hope it made sense. So all praises, glory, Nazi, how about Shema Shah, Bashim God, Dash, the one, others, possible teach, great mess up, and true, show on to hope, like this instruction, battle, great America.